Okay, so let's try to walk through the process of transferring a license, and we'll see how far this process will let me go. The problem that I anticipate having is that I do not want to actually transfer the license off of my current computer in order to completely go through this process. So what I'm going to do is we're going to go through the steps. I'll show you as much as I can using the transfer license here on this computer, and we'll see how we get with that. All right, so when you downloaded the transfer license from the Facebook group, it came in a zip file like this. Sometimes a zip file is actually named ZIPP. I don't know which version you got. To make a long story short, when Facebook first started allowing us to upload zipped files, they didn't actually let us upload a zip file unless we called it a ZIPP. We had to rename the file, in other words, and for the Facebook app to let us actually upload it. So that complicated some people because they didn't know how to then change the name. So it would be a very simple matter. All you would do is if you had that version that was ZIPP rather than the ZIP, just going through this for just in case, you would have right clicked on it. You would have come up to this here and you would have said that you wanted to rename it. What you would have done then is you would have put your cursor at the end of the zip word and you would have deleted one of those keys. If you did that, I'm just going to show you what would happen here. I'm going to go ahead and backspace to get rid of that key, and I'm going to hit the enter key, and I'm going to get a message that says if you change the file name, the file might become unusable. Are you sure you want to change it? I'm going to say no because I don't want to change mine. But if yours was a ZIPP, at this point you would say yes. And then this little icon would have changed from that little blank looking icon into a regular zip file like this. Okay, so I hope that that makes sense to you. The next point is that you would then extract this. Extracting means to unzip. Simple matter is to right click on it and say extract all. It's going to ask you where you want to put this, and I'm going to tell you that just leave it wherever it was that you downloaded it. Hopefully you downloaded it into a document folder rather than just having it in your download files. That would have complicated matters as well. I would have probably in that case started off by telling you make sure that it's in your documents folder in your computer, not just in the download file. All right, hopefully you did that right in the first place. And then I would say extract. Now we've got a new extracted folder here and the original one. This is where at this point in time you would make sure that you've got a blank USB drive in your computer. You would go ahead and go open this up by double clicking on it. Find this exe, that's an executable file. You would right click on this, copy it, find your USB drive, right click here in the open space and paste it. Take a couple of seconds for it to come over. This is the executable file. This is the one that we're going to be opening in a little file in order to write some instructions into it. Okay, so that's the first step there. Now from here, what you would have done is that you would come into your main computer, you would find your original installation disk that you got from Genome to install the program. You would insert that disk into the CD drive. You're going to get a list of instructions about how you want to install that program. Now let's continue with what the instructions that I gave you actually say. And this is again where I want you to make sure that you're using the file name that is called, well, let's see if I can find it here. Actually has my initials on it. Let's see, I'm going to waste a little bit of time finding it. Hold on. Here it is here. It's the one that has Transferring Digitizer MBX version 5 and version 5. It should say version 5.5 -FM. So it needs to be this file here. Yours would probably be the PDF because I believe that's the one that I actually included with as a download in Facebook. All right, so it has to be the one that says FM because this is where I simplified the instructions a little bit. So this is where we're starting here. Step 1, download the transfer file. You've already done that. Save it on your computer in a place you can find it again. That's what I was talking about a while ago, that you make sure that if your downloads from the internet don't already specify where you want to put things, it's going to put them in that download folder, which then you would have had to cut it from there and put it somewhere else in one of your folders on your file explorer. All right, where you can find it again. We've already gone through this. I was demonstrating all of this a few moments ago. Right click on the file, change the name if you needed to transfer license version 5 mbx.zip. All right, unzip it, then unzip it. Now, when we unzip, that means extract all, and this is what you're going to see inside the folder. We just did that as well. You're going to have two files. You're going to have an instruction file. Unfortunately, it's the old one, so just disregard that. And the other one is actually that executable. All right, so this is where I made a note and I said these instructions will be similar to the PDF that was originally included with the transfer file. So the next thing you were going to copy that executable file onto the USB by right-clicking on it over here, copying it, finding your USB, and pasting it. So on the new computer, I spoke about this as well, insert the original installation CD and run the setup program to install the program, but don't run it yet. So important. If you start to run the program, then you've used the license, and then all the rest of this is just, irrelevant. So at the end of that process there, you are going to get a little alert that it says that it needs to restart the computer to finish the process. So let it restart, but don't do anything else to start the program. Don't run it. Don't try to open that program. All right, because as again, I'm repeating myself a lot here. I know it says if you do this process correctly, you won't ever be asked to enter a product key. So that's key. If you go through this entire process and at the end of it all, you get a little message on your computer that says enter the product key, then you know that you did something wrong. Don't enter the product key, just X out of that screen and then start all over again. I just put this little note here that for your information, the product key is inside the CD case of the original software. We're now on step 3, which is now where we're going to be able to begin to create the transfer. So you start this off on the new computer. With that USB where you put the executable file, you are going to locate it and you're going to double click on it to run it. Now I think it's going to allow me to do that. I'm going to find my USB over here. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to double click on it. And we're going to see a little window that looks like this. All right. So every time that I have a little box on the side and I have highlighted something on the little screen that's in yellow, I'm just giving you extra information here. This is telling you click on the transfer license tab. And when that window opens, it's going to be this little doohickey there. So I'm double clicking. Might take a moment to pop up. Here we go. It's right here. This is the transfer license that we're referring to right over here. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to click on it. And this next window is going to open. You get this alert right here. This is the window that's going to open. So now we're on page 2. And we're going to say that in this little box here where it says to collect the information, this is the box right here, collect the information about the recipient computer. The recipient computer is your new computer. All right, it's going to receive the program. So here we go. We're going to click on the little box that has the 3 dots in it. It's right here. It looks like it here. I highlighted here. When I double click on this, actually I didn't have to double click on it, I just single clicked it. A new little window is supposed to open up. This is the window that opened. In this box, we're going to type a name that you want to call your file. So this is where we're putting the file name. All right here. We're going to call it the same thing that's in this little picture here. All right. We're looking at the file name right here. We're making a recipient information file. In the box, type in D. You can even make this easier. You could even just call this my new PC. Typing it in. All right. And then I'm going to say save. All right. In this box, type in a name you want to call your file. This was just a little tip to use the same name that's in this little picture here. This is from the old information. Then we're going to click on, we're going to save it here, and then we're going to click on this collect and save information. Where is it? It's right here. Collect and save information. All right, when I click on that, it pops up this little window that says the recipient information is stored in the file called My New PC ID. Same information that's right here, other than the name is just a tiny bit different. So it's telling us here, ensure that this file or a copy of this file is accessible on the computer that currently contains the license. What does that mean? That means you need to find the USB and you need to make sure that this new extra little file is on there. So I'm going to say, okay, I'm going to come over here to my File Explorer list. I'm going to open up that USB drive that I'm using. It's right here. Here's the new file that's been added on here, mynewpc.id. Alrighty, so we know we're doing good here. The file you named is on there. Next thing that we're going to do is we're going to eject this USB from the computer. Hopefully you know how to do that. So what you would do is you would first of all close this little window. You would keep these open for now. Come on down to your little taskbar at the bottom here of your computer screen. Click on Safely Remove It, and you would remove that flash memory. All right, it's telling me that it's currently in use, so I would need to close any programs. All right, and I don't really want to have to do that at this point. You know, and if you actually come over here and find that USB, sometimes it works. When you get that message, just go ahead and right-click on here and say Eject. All right, so it is letting me eject it. I think it's going to let me eject it. So at this point, you would have closed this thing out. If this little window that's open is not allowing you to shut down that USB, then go ahead and close this down, and then you can always open it up once again. See, it's not wanting to let me close it. Hopefully that's not going to cause a problem here. I think at this point in time, I'm going to have to just walk you through the instruction sheet because I think it's not going to let me generate this file. We'll see. I'm going to minimize that. All right, so we're at the point where it says to eject this USB from your new computer. Now you're going to go to your old computer and you're going to start it up. You're going to create a new transfer license file on that computer. So make sure also here that you're not running your MBX program. It's completely shut down. So you're going to insert that USB that we just had. You're going to open it up and you're going to double click on that executable to run it over there too. Now you're going to select the Transfer License tab. You know what? Let's see if by some chance it's going to let me do that on that USB. I don't really care if I ruin this process on my own. I just want to see what it'll allow me to do and what it won't allow me to do. So if I had this on here and I wanted to try this, let's see if it's going to let me transfer it. Double click on the executable again to run it. So I did that. All righty, let's see if it says here in the Select Transfer License tab, that's this one right here. Okay, you may need to expand this window so that you can see the whole thing. I do have a point about that because sometimes this comes up kind of truncated a little bit. You may need to expand it. You'll look for the Generate a License Transfer File. So where is Generate the Transfer File? It's down over here. This is the box for Generate the Transfer License File. And in this little box here, you're going to have some information right over here. So I'm going to scroll down here and see if it's going to be similar. I don't think it is. This is going to be an oldie. So that's actually not going to work. Yours will have had the proper information right here. You would click on it so that it turns blue like this picture here. All right. Yours is going to say something like update, new digitizer MBX, something like that. Very similar to this picture here, not 3, 4 to 5 like this one here shows. So this is where the process is going to kind of crack down a little bit. So in this window, we're going to click on that license file. And then on the 3 dots, this is where the 3 dots are down here. In the window, click on the transfer key type for the MBX. That's that. Click on the 3 dots that is next to read the recipient. This is read the recipient. Click on these 3 dots. And then another little window pops open. And this new one is going to open up. All right, that's what it's telling us right here. Next, it says find your USB. It automatically opened my USB. You can see that here in this little window. And you're going to find the transfer file. This is it here. All right. You're going to select it and you're going to open it. That means you're going to click on it to open it. And you're now going to give a new name to that license transfer file. It's going to be, when you click on this, it's going to have a .h2h on it. So let's see if this is going to let me do it. I'm going to click on it to open it. I don't think it's going to let me. Yeah, I think at this point we're just going to crack down. So I'm going to go ahead and close that so I don't end up messing up my own program here. So now when this new box opens up, it's going to be a .h2h, generating a license. You're going to have a blank box that you're going to be able to type something into. And these little 3 dot button again is what you have selected. You're going to select the 3 dots. The little window will open. In this little box, I want you to type a file name. You can call it new license. It's automatically going to have that .h2h as the file type on there. And then the window that's going to pop up will have a little place where you can click save. So now you're going to click on the generate license transfer file to create that transfer. All right. And again, we're going to have a little problem with all of that. You're going to click yes on the screen to confirm that yes, you now want to move the license key from this old computer to a new computer. And you're going to say okay. Again, a little while ago, we talked about assuring that that file has been written properly onto the USB. Go ahead and find your file over here and make sure that there's a file here that says H2H license, okay, on that USB. Then you're going to close these windows and you're going to eject the USB from that old computer. Next, you're going to go back to your new computer. You're going to turn it on if you had turned it off. You're going to put the USB into your new computer and you're going to open up that USB and you're going to find that program, that executable program. That's the original one right here on the USB drive. You're going to double click on it and you're going to click on the apply the license file. Okay, there's going to be a little tab there that looks like this. Then after you've done that, a little screen will open up once again with the 3 dots on it over here. So click on your 3 dots. It's going to open up a new small window. Select the file in this little box and open it. Okay, a new window is going to open up that looks like this. Sounds good. The next step that we're going to do is we're going to apply the update. And this is right here on here. Again, I've highlighted it in yellow to confirm that you are going to transfer, which means rehosting, finding a new host of your license from your old to your new computer. And then check that you get a confirmation message. At this point in time, you should get a little message that's going to pop up on your screen, and it's going to tell you that the update was written successfully. Update was written successfully. That means that the license has been activated and it's been transferred to the new PC. So you're going to close that program by clicking on the X in the upper right-hand corner of that window, and you're going to eject the USB from your computer. Now you're going to be able to run the program on your new computer. So if the license transfer was successful, when you start up MBX Digitizer version 5 or version 5.5, you will get your program is going to open up, and you will not be asked to enter a product key or any other question that's going to ask you to activate the program. If you are asked to do that, don't enter it. You will use up the activation. Okay, as I started off by saying, if you get asked this question, then just X out of it, because instead of doing that, go back through this entire process for transferring a license. All right, once you have done this properly, your old computer will no longer be able to run the program. Okay, because the activation is an interior dongle. It's what we used to call a software dongle. If you've been with a Denomi MBX program for a while, you used to have a little orange USB stick that would light up, and you had to have that in order to run the program. Well, at version 5, that's when Denomi changed to these internal dongles that actually occasionally would connect to the internet to make sure that the proper person was using the program. All right. Just know that you can always move the activation back again by doing the same exact process from the new computer back to the old computer if you wanted to. And that's the way it's done. So hopefully this instruction is going to be a little bit helpful. I know it was kind of long, and it's unfortunate that I really don't want to have to, uninstall my program and move it over in order to get the full instructions. Any questions? Go ahead and contact me. Thanks for watching. Good luck.